Safe coming in, and oh no, the fire puddle! Not today, gargoyle Satan. Alright, I'm all in, boys. I had a request for Cairne, so I decided, let's do a dungeon run with really bad relics. Welcome back, my friends. It's Omelette, and we've cooked up something else. We've got Cairne Bloodhoof here. I'm running Reincarnation. He's only one level under the dungeon, so Reincarnation just makes him a better stat stick overall. He can take a beating as well, and it's just good all around for that. If he's underleveled, I probably wouldn't deploy him at all, simply because he's just there to absorb damage. Now I'm running Safe Pilot. The dungeon level is 23. My Safe Pilot is 20. I want to show you how to use Safe Pilot effectively in this dungeon if it's underleveled. So Gnomish Cloaking Device is going to be the preferred talent. Just be aware that it is hard to get perfect value with Safe, particularly with her damage nerfs. Safe just isn't a good economic investment against these Murlocs anymore at any level disadvantage. So for that reason, you really can't use her to answer these Murlocs. You've got to use something else. What she does excel at is she's more of a... she fixes errors. So if there's something that needs to be cleaned up, like one of those Murlocs are remaining, she can fix that. What she can't do is she can't solo them anymore. So really, if you want power, you're going to want to run Pyromancer instead. The Pyromancer is just going to be more powerful overall. She's going to more definitively answer the gargoyles and such, but Safe is going to be more flexible. Quillbore, I take Tunnel Vision. I don't think Bristleback is terribly necessary on these maps. However, it is probably the slightly more min-max version of this deck. I do prefer the Tunnel Vision just to be able to tap towers if they get recaptured. That allows me to keep better control of them. It gives me an extra tool to prevent them from healing essentially. So for that reason, I like the Tunnel Vision. With Harpies, we go with Infectious Swipes. I realize my Harpies are level 23, which is at parity with the level of the dungeon. And Harpies are very important for Stage 2 to deal with the gargoyles. I think they could work down 2 levels and be fine. Whelp Eggs, Flame Burst is really good. You just need it to clean up the Murlocs. Enough said. They're also good for cheesing the bosses. You can put them next to any of the bosses, particularly the first boss, and just nuke them down that way. So Whelp Eggs, very powerful. We have Defiance Bandits, Picklock. It's my bread and butter. I love deploying this on Stage 1 to get 8 gold every 40 seconds. It's insane. As long as you can control the ads that spawn, like the Murlocs and such, with your Whelp Eggs, you're going to make a lot of money that way. And then we have Stonehoof Tauren. Either talent, Pummel, or Momentum is perfectly fine to run in this build. Just be advised, it's another level-dependent mini. You kind of want it to be within 1 or 2 levels of the dungeon so it can take a beating. And it synergizes quite well with Cairne's passive, which gives it an additional 20% health, as you'll see here. And that means that it's going to be even that much more tanky. This is a pretty generic deck, but be advised, when you run dungeons with terrible relics, your levels are generally going to have to be a little bit close to the dungeon level to compensate for that. With better relics, you can almost certainly push several levels higher. So starting out here, we're going to use the Whelp Eggs to clear the Murlocs, and I'm going to split up my Defiance Bandits, 1 on each chest. I have control of both chests currently, and I'm going to use this Stonehoof to immediately crack open the chest. And I'm going to use the Quillbore to get the elemental damage away from my Stonehoof. Now, you'll note here that I actually don't have a way to protect my Stonehoof Tauren, so I use the Safe Pilot because it does double damage to the Spiderlings. And I'm going to drop the Whelp Eggs on that line over on the right here to prevent any Murlocs from spawning, from reinforcing and taking out my Safe Pilot. I use that to cycle back to the Quillbore, which I use to tank the tower, and I use that to take the tower out. A little unfortunate here, I can't really do anything about that Ogre Mage, so I'm going to lose my push. I know it's been about 40 seconds, so it's time to refresh my Defiance Bandits and claim my 8 gold again. Unfortunately, this Earth Elemental pulls my Defiance Bandit off the chest, so I do lose 2 of the gold. And I'm just going to make double sure that I have control of this line here to deny the Murlocs from spawning. Now, I really just want to push into the boss here. Unfortunately, I somehow took the left chest a lot later than the right. I think it's because I cracked it open with my Stonehoof Tauren, so the spiders on the left ended up getting the chest. I decided to split my Harpies in half. It didn't go exactly as I wanted. Actually, it did. 2 of the Harpies went right and 1 went left. I just wanted 1 Harpy to go left to hold the line, as I'm going to be pushing right to try and take down the boss. I'm I'm going to spin this ogre away, and I'm going to try and take the aggro of one of the murlocs with this quillbore so I can deal with the rest. I'm going to use whelp eggs on the ledge just to kill the murlocs and allow myself to get a kobold over to that gold mine. And from here, it's pretty straightforward. We're just pushing the boss down with our massive death ball, and we're making sure to do a lot of burst damage here. And really, you could just bypass all of taking the towers if you wanted and use Unbounds to clear this level. So we get offered some bonkers relics. Arcane Crystal would be insane synergy. Bandit Protector would save us a ton of gold. We're going to take the garbage relic though, because why not? Let's figure out how to make this run consistent, and then we can fine tune it with stronger relics. We get a bad spawn and I'm gold capped, so I'm going to go for this left tower. Note where I spawn these whelp eggs. It actually somehow makes the Drake turn to the left. So I'm thinking in the future, spawn them on the left side of the pool and in the middle to get them to hatch. And I can tell that my harpies are going to take this tower, so I don't reinforce. Once I have that tower, I'm in pretty good shape on the left side. So I'm going to spawn my Stonehoof in the bottom right corner so that I don't pull aggro on this Bat Rider. I just want to make sure that my Stonehoof is able to go into the tower. Because my safe pilot has stealth, I should have played it a little bit further back. That way I wouldn't have landed in the lava puddle that the Bat Rider created. And now I'm going to push the gargoyle back with my harpies. It has such a large collision that you can actually do that for whatever reason, which buys you a little bit extra time on your base. If I had cycled to my answers a little bit faster, I would have lost a lot less base health. So I'm going to use this safe pilot to get a lot of AoE damage. Unfortunately, the gargoyle is getting close again, so I have to cycle. I use my cheap Defy Spins to cycle to my harpies, and then I take out the gargoyle. I take quite a bit of damage. If I'd been faster again, I would have been fine. And I use my Quillbore to tank the tower and pull the Bat Rider away. Now I've taken both towers, and I am free to take this gold on the left. I should have taken the gold a little bit sooner on the left, to be honest. Now I go ahead and send in my safe. Normally I would wait, but because the gargoyle's out, I decide it is better to just go ahead and send the safe in now because I want to get as much damage on this gargoyle as possible. And I have a pretty solid gold advantage, so I went ahead and spawned the whelp eggs, I believe, on the boss. It didn't really do anything, so unfortunate for me. I think generally speaking, with this type of deck, you won't actually want to try and snowball a push into the boss instead of just unbound spamming him. Especially because this boss has elemental resistance, so whelp eggs, save pilot, pyromancer, these units are going to do less damage to the boss. You do want to get some sort of physical damage on him to make sure that he goes down. So I do try and cycle these Defias Bandits to just prevent myself from overcapping here. I see that there is a gargoyle going to the right, so I'm going to use my safe pilot to try and take out the Drake, as well as do a little bit of damage to the gargoyle. Unfortunately, since it's under-leveled, it didn't actually kill the Drake. A little bit unfortunate there. But now I've managed to cycle back to my next safe pilot, which I'm going to catch at the tower. So I'm going to use my safe pilot here to snipe the Drake. And now I don't have to worry about the Drake, and now it will also help me take out the gargoyle on the right. I decide to all-in the boss with the harpies on the left here. I know that the Drake and the Griffin are coming in, and I don't really want to deal with those. And ordinarily, I would spawn the Quillbore in the bottom left corner to make any enemies that spawn spin away from my harpies. But the boss was so low, it didn't really matter. I don't believe that poison stacks if your harpies already have it, so I believe the Chromatic Shroud, the Stealth for your flyers, is the correct relic here. We need to build up a push on our left here, so I'm going to use the Stone of Tauren to have a strong frontliner. And I want to cycle to these whelp eggs. My goal is to get them down as quickly as possible so I can try and AoE down these murlocs. Unfortunately, the Stonehoof charged faster than I realized was going to happen, and this means that my whelp eggs did not all crack at the same time. So now I've lost my push, and now I have to reset. Ideally, you would drop your whelp eggs before your push crashes in there. That way they all die at the same time, and the boss is getting crashed by everything all at once and dies. I see these harpies coming in, and the kobold is on the mine, so I go ahead and take out both of them. It's decent value, and it preserves the 2 gold on the mine. So the Stonehoof is now tanking. We're ready to just slam into this Akumai head. And we're ready to go after the tower as well. I probably overcommitted with the Cairne, but it's fine for now. So now we need to develop our push on the right here. The harpies are a little bit fast, so they're going to go and die, and I think our push on the left is pretty much sunk. We're going to use this quill boar to take control of the meeting stone so he can't get any reinforcements, and then we're going to send in the harpies. And the quill boar is going to make any poison breath move away from my harpies. So I just assume I'm going to take out the Akumai head on the right, the poison gas one, because the harpies do significant damage, and I spun him away with quill boar. And quill boar does a very good job of tanking both the lightning head and the poison head. The poison head being the one on the right and the lightning head being the one in the back left. Lightning is blue fins and poison is green fins, if that helps you. So I like to crash my safe pilot on top of the bridge because it allows me to shoot down and do a lot of good AoE damage. We're going to try and pull these raptors into the boss. I know he's going to chain lightning them down, which will do a lot of damage to the boss. And hopefully it will allow me to take out that final head. So the final head's down. And now we have to do a push. You'll notice that when you get about 2/3 over the grate, the left head is in range to aggro you. So at this point, I should have dropped some sort of unbound. If I could have possibly cycled back to my quill boar, that would have been ideal. And I could have finished my push that way and then killed the boss. You'll notice that he actually loses aggro. He retargets aggro after breaking the eggs. So you have a small window where you can make him shift to the quill boar from the harpy or from the whelp eggs. And that can be very helpful because he's armored for trying to zerg him down with quill boar and whelp eggs. I feel like this chest is about to come back up on the right, and it is. And this one on the right, he's the poison one. He has the green fins. We're going to pull his attention away with the quill boar and allow the harpies to zerg him down. Again, it's just rinse and repeat. Safe on this bridge is really nice. It's one of the advantages that Safe has over Blackrock Pyromancer, is that she's able to position and be more flexible in certain circumstances for value. And now we're at a pretty solid state here where we're just trying to push down the boss, and we're trying to not get backdoor. I know my base is taking damage, so I peel off with the Defias Bandits, and I try and finish off this final boss here with a little bit of splash damage and some unbound spam. And I think that this deck probably could pull through if it was down 2 levels overall, maybe even 3 levels with some of the relics that were offered during the run. Band of the Protector and Arcane Crystal are definitely good for punching up several levels. So just a friendly PSA here, if you don't clear the entire dungeon, the Arc-like energy actually resets 5 weeks later for the same family. So that's why I'm not clearing the dungeons. I want to keep them a little bit more clearable until I can clear level 30s. Thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please like, comment, or subscribe. It really helps me know what kind of content you all want to see. Take it easy, y'all. Catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye.